In the dying light of the 19th century, when the world hummed with the first pulse of electricity, one man looked beyond it all, beyond the factories, beyond the flickering bulbs, beyond the noise of invention. He saw something no one else could, a world connected by invisible energy, free, abundant, and eternal. His name was Nikola Tesla. To some, he was a genius ahead of his time. To others, a madman chasing lightning in his mind. But the truth is darker, because Tesla didn't just dream of changing the world. He succeeded, and for that, the world turned on him. Chapter 1: The Visionary. He was born in the midst of a thunderstorm in 1856, in a small village called Smiljan, modern-day Croatia. As lightning cracked through the sky, the midwife is said to have whispered, "He will be a child of darkness." His mother replied, "No, of light." And both would be right. From the beginning, Tesla was haunted by visions, by patterns, by flashes of light no one else could see. He spoke of seeing entire inventions in his mind before ever touching a piece of metal. Machines came to him fully formed, whirring, spinning, working in perfect harmony inside his imagination. He didn't think in words. He thought in symbols, in numbers, in frequencies. It wasn't genius in the ordinary sense. It was something else, something that frightened even him. In his youth, Tesla became obsessed with harnessing the unseen forces of nature. He studied the invisible, energy, magnetism, vibration, convinced that the secrets of the universe could be unlocked through resonance. To him, everything was frequency. He would later say, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." But the world wasn't ready for that kind of thinking. Because while the industrial age was built on tangible profit, coal, oil, copper, Tesla was chasing the intangible. He wasn't trying to build machines. He was trying to liberate humanity from dependence itself. When Tesla arrived in America in 1884, he carried little more than a letter of recommendation and a handful of sketches. He was 28 years old, penniless, yet burning with vision. In that letter, his former employer wrote, "I know two great men and you are one of them. The other is Thomas Edison." That single line would define Tesla's fate. Edison, America's golden inventor, was already a celebrity. He was practical, ruthless, and above all, a businessman. Tesla, on the other hand, was pure idealist, driven not by profit but by perfection. When the two men met, it was like lightning meeting the ground, raw energy destined to explode. Tesla offered to improve Edison's inefficient direct current (DC) systems, the electrical standard at the time. Edison laughed but agreed, promising him a large sum if he succeeded. Weeks later, Tesla presented a design that worked. More efficient, more stable, revolutionary. Edison refused to pay. He dismissed Tesla's contribution as fantasy and said, "You don't understand our American humor." It was a betrayal that would ignite one of the most brutal rivalries in scientific history, the War of Currents. But before that war began, Tesla faced his first fall. Broke and disillusioned, he left Edison's company and found himself digging ditches for survival. The man who would one day electrify the world now working in the dirt. He called it humiliating, yet it was in those dark days that he made a vow. If no one would fund his vision, he would build it himself. And soon he did. With the help of Western Union investors, Tesla built his own laboratory in Manhattan, a temple of invention where experiments crackled day and night. It was there he perfected the alternating current, or AC, a system of power that could travel great distances efficiently. It was everything Edison's DC system wasn't: scalable, powerful, and universal. Tesla's alternating current was the key to global electrification. It could have made power free and accessible to all. And that terrified those who profited from control. Tesla's AC system caught the attention of George Westinghouse, a visionary industrialist who saw what Edison refused to. Together, Tesla and Westinghouse challenged Edison's empire, launching a technological war that would decide the future of electricity. Edison fought dirty. He spread fear. He funded public demonstrations where animals were electrocuted with alternating current, claiming it was deadly, unstable, dangerous. It wasn't science, it was propaganda. Tesla ignored him. He focused on innovation. And when the Niagara Falls power project succeeded, using Tesla's AC system to power entire cities, the war was over. Edison had lost. The world ran on Tesla's current. But that victory came at a cost. Because the moment Tesla won the war of currents, the real war began. Not between inventors, but between vision and profit. Tesla didn't stop. He spoke of wireless energy, of sending power through the air across the world without wires, without control. He envisioned a future where every home, every city, every nation could draw energy freely from the Earth's natural field. He built prototypes, resonant transformers, high-voltage coils, devices that lit bulbs from miles away. It wasn't magic. It was physics pushed beyond comprehension. Yet when he proposed this to investors, they recoiled. To them, power wasn't something to be shared, it was something to be sold. Free energy was the death of capitalism itself. One by one, Tesla's backers pulled out. His research was labeled impractical, his methods dangerous. But behind closed doors, government and corporate agents began to take notice. If Tesla truly could transmit energy wirelessly, if his resonant frequencies could affect machinery, communication, even weather, then he wasn't just a scientist anymore. He was a potential weapon. Tesla's ambitions only grew. He spoke of machines that could tap into the very wheelwork of nature. He claimed to have discovered a resonance between the Earth and the atmosphere, a frequency that, if harnessed, could provide unlimited power or unimaginable destruction. He called it the magnifying transmitter. And so began the construction of Wardenclyffe Tower, Tesla's grandest and most fateful creation. A 187-foot colossus of steel and copper rising over Long Island, designed to transmit energy and communication globally. Tesla claimed it could light the oceans, power cities across continents, even connect minds across the world. To the press, it was madness. To those who understood it, it was a threat. Because if Wardenclyffe worked, the entire structure of industrial profit, the oil barons, the electrical monopolies, the financiers, would crumble overnight. Then came the meeting that sealed Tesla's fate. When J.P. Morgan, the most powerful banker in America, agreed to fund Wardenclyffe, Tesla believed the world had finally caught up to his vision. Morgan saw promise in global communication, but when he realized Tesla's goal was free energy, he withdrew his support immediately. He reportedly said, "If anyone can draw power from the air, where do we put the meter?" Without funding, construction halted. Tesla's laboratory debts grew. And one night, under mysterious circumstances, a fire consumed his New York lab, destroying years of research, notes, and devices. The official cause was never confirmed. Tesla never recovered what was lost. To the world, it was an accident. To Tesla, it was sabotage. He rebuilt what he could, driven by something beyond reason, a silent war against the unseen forces that had cornered him. But the more he pushed forward, the more invisible hands pushed back. His patents were stolen. His name erased from inventions he pioneered. He began to speak less of technology and more of conspiracies. He said that his work had been intercepted, that there were those who feared its implications. In the years that followed, Tesla withdrew further into secrecy. His inventions became stranger, devices to contact other planets, transmit thought, harness cosmic rays. The press called him insane. But behind that madness was something else, obsession, and a growing sense that something was watching him. He once said, "The present is theirs. The future for which I really worked is mine." Sounded like hope, but it wasn't, because Tesla knew something the rest of the world refused to see. The future had already been stolen. Tesla's genius had threatened the powerful. But what happened next? The disappearance of his research, the classified experiments, and the shadow operations that followed his death would reveal just how far they were willing to go to bury him and his discoveries. Chapter 2: The War of Currents. The Conspiracy to Erase a Genius. As the new century dawned, Tesla stood at the edge of triumph and oblivion. His inventions powered entire cities, yet his name began to fade from the very systems he created. Behind the scenes, the alliance between money and influence tightened its grip. Thomas Edison's corporate backers, J.P. Morgan's banking empire, and the rising industrial monopolies understood that Tesla's dream of wireless, limitless energy would destroy the foundation of their wealth. Power, after all, depended on control, and Tesla's technology promised a world they couldn't meter. When Wardenclyffe Tower fell silent, Tesla's empire collapsed overnight. His patents were quietly absorbed into corporate portfolios, rebranded under other inventors, and sealed under national security. The same government that once hailed him as a visionary began to treat him as a threat. He was followed, his correspondence intercepted, his research confiscated under the pretext of safety. Newspapers mocked him as insane, a recluse who spoke of death rays, earthquake machines, and interplanetary communication. Yet what they didn't say was that behind those derisive headlines, the military was taking notes. Tesla's Teleforce weapon, described as capable of destroying aircraft from hundreds of miles away, drew the attention of intelligence agencies across continents. His ideas on directed energy and resonance were too advanced, too dangerous, and too uncontrollable. He was invited to military consultations, offered government contracts, and then sidelined. Once again, his work vanished into silence. But whispers persisted. Prototypes tested in secret, devices dismantled, theories repurposed for defense programs decades ahead of their time. By the 1930s, Tesla's public image had become a caricature. A brilliant but broken man feeding pigeons in New York parks. Yet in his mind, he was still fighting the same invisible war. He claimed that unseen forces had taken his research, that certain agencies were watching him, and that much of his life's work had been stolen. To those who dismissed him, it sounded like madness. But when he died alone in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel in 1943, something extraordinary happened. Within hours, agents from the U.S. Office of Alien Property seized every paper, sketch, and prototype he had left behind. They called it routine. It wasn't. His trunks were filled with blueprints of devices the world still can't explain. Schematics for limitless energy, weather control, and high-frequency resonance systems decades beyond existing technology. And then everything disappeared. In the decades that followed, fragments of Tesla's work resurfaced under new names, new patents, and new institutions. Radar, wireless transmission, directed energy weapons. Technologies that bore his signature but never his name. The man who lit the modern world was systematically written out of its history. His towers dismantled, his notes locked away, his image twisted from prophet to lunatic. But buried beneath the myth was a question too dangerous to ask aloud. If Tesla's inventions could truly give humanity free power, who had the power to bury them? In the shadows of progress, Tesla's silence became its own weapon. But after his death, when the US government took his research and secret programs began to appear that mirrored his most forbidden experiments, a darker possibility emerged. One suggesting that Tesla's work didn't die with him, it was reborn in secrecy. Chapter 3: The Suppression, the hidden legacy of Tesla's lost inventions. When Nikola Tesla died in 1943, the world barely noticed. Newspapers printed small columns about the passing of a forgotten inventor, while behind locked hotel doors, federal agents worked through the night. Every notebook, every page, every diagram he'd ever guarded was taken. The operation was swift, clinical, and classified. The man who had dreamed of giving humanity free energy had died alone, penniless, while the full scope of his discoveries vanished into government archives. The official story called it routine procedure. But what followed was anything but routine. The confiscated papers were turned over to a little-known government investigator, Dr. John G. Trump, an electrical engineer working for the Office of Alien Property. His conclusion? Tesla's notes contained nothing of significant value. But many within the scientific community doubted that claim. Tesla's research had predicted technologies decades ahead of their time: wireless communication, remote energy transmission, even directed energy defense. Within years of his death, projects emerged that echoed his lost ideas. Radar systems, weather modification studies, and secret experiments on high-frequency power transmission. The question was no longer whether Tesla's inventions were suppressed. It was who had them and what they were being used for. In the following decades, strange echoes of Tesla's legacy began surfacing in the shadows of classified programs. During the Cold War, both the United States and the Soviet Union poured resources into research on ionospheric manipulation, resonance-based communication, and electromagnetic weaponry, all rooted in principles Tesla described decades earlier. The HARP program in Alaska, often surrounded by conspiracy and denial, bore striking resemblance to Tesla's early notes on atmospheric resonance and wireless power. The military denied any connection, yet the technology was eerily familiar. Frequencies capable of altering the ionosphere, disrupting communication, and influencing global weather patterns. The same frequencies Tesla once said could make or unmake nations. Tesla's dream of free wireless energy had been twisted into tools of control. The technology that could have liberated the world now served the interests of secrecy and warfare. His warnings, that misuse of resonance could split the earth like an apple, were no longer metaphors. Experiments in seismic energy, microwave transmission, and energy-directed systems all emerged from the same silent foundation. The scientific community dismissed it as coincidence, but the patterns were too precise, too deliberate, too Tesla. Yet perhaps the most haunting mystery lies in what never resurfaced: the devices Tesla spoke of but never revealed. The earthquake machine, the death ray, the world wireless system. Some scientists claimed they were fantasies. Others suspected prototypes were taken long before his death. There are scattered reports of demonstrations witnessed by military personnel, machines that could illuminate bulbs miles away without wires, or pulses that caused localized tremors. If these were real, they were buried for reasons beyond comprehension. What remains undeniable is that Tesla's disappearance from mainstream history was no accident. His vision threatened an entire structure of power built on scarcity. Energy companies, banks, governments, all relied on control, on the idea that power must be produced, owned, and sold. Tesla shattered that illusion. And in return, the world turned him into a ghost. The textbooks mentioned Edison, Marconi, Westinghouse, but not the man who made their work possible. The patents disappeared, the towers dismantled, the documents sealed, the truth erased. Even now, fragments of Tesla's genius are said to circulate through hidden laboratories and black-budget projects. Whistleblowers claim that some of his lost principles are being applied in classified propulsion systems, in satellite communication, even in energy-based defense. Whether true or myth, the pattern remains. The world took his ideas, then buried his name. Tesla once warned, "The present is theirs. The future for which I really worked is mine." He was right. The future did arrive, but not the one he envisioned. Because in that future, energy is still controlled, information is still silenced, and power, real power, remains in the hands of the few. His dream of a freely connected world became a network of surveillance and dependency. The very forces that destroyed him now use his vision to tighten their grip. The world runs on the current he gave us, but chained to the system he tried to destroy. And so, Nikola Tesla's story ends where it began, in lightning and silence. A man who saw too far, who built too much, who gave too freely. The dark secret isn't that Tesla failed. It's that he succeeded, and the world was never meant to have what he found. If you want to keep uncovering the hidden truths, the erased geniuses, and the secrets buried beneath the surface of history, subscribe. Because the stories they tried to silence are the ones that matter most. And somewhere in the static of time, Tesla's current is still alive, waiting to be rediscovered.